special moment last night for a really determined young lady from Metro Detroit.
Today I have seen so many people who inspire me to keep advocating for a better life for people who have Down syndrome. I like to fight for whatever I believe in and to aim for the stars.
That's Allie Hayes, a Troy woman accepting the prestigious Stephen Beck Jr. Champion of Change Award from the National Down Syndrome Society. She received the award for her advocacy work for vulnerable and disabled people across the country. As if that isn't big enough, today has been monumental as Allie meets with members of Congress to discuss making organ transplants more accessible to the disabled. Paula Tutman has this important follow-up.
For Allie Hayes in Washington, D.C., advocating for disabled and vulnerable adults, and on her agenda, a little-known uncomfortable reality in the world of organ transplants and who can or will be a recipient.
We should be talking about it. It's definitely something that should be talked about.
Last night, step one, something rarely achieved.
This bill prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities in the organ transplant system.
The unanimous bipartisan passing of H.R. 2706, which prohibits healthcare providers and other entities involved in matching donated organs with recipients from denying or restricting an individual's access to organ transplants solely on the basis of the individual's disability.
It has been told, yes, the law is on the books. However, it's not what's happening in practice.
I think our health system, it's not a surprise to anyone that our health system has disparities.
Dr. Meredith Barrett is a transplant surgeon for University of Michigan Health and the Transplant Center. She speaks candidly about what can happen in some programs when a disabled person is the next name on the list.
We have, kidney patients on average are waiting 3 to 5 years for a transplant. And so I think with that limited resource and being thoughtful about being stewards of the gift of transplantation, it can be easy to try to make our list shorter by potentially, taking someone who might have a disability or someone who might not be your standard patient and saying like that is a contraindication to transplantation.
But it's not that cut and dry, because part of being an eligible recipient is the ability to care for the rare and precious gift of that transplanted organ, taking complicated anti-rejection medications, getting to doctor's appointments, following directives to make sure the transplanted organ thrives. That said, she agrees that more needs to be done to level the recipient field for the patients with disabilities who are otherwise healthy enough to receive the gift of an organ.
Accountability is something that we need to continue to work on.
From the early trip to the Capitol, navigating tunnels, sign-ins, and just D.C. in general.
We're going to get a crash course on how to make our way through Congress today.
She's moving through the labyrinth of our system of speaking with lawmakers.
I'm Debbie Dingle. How are you?
How are you?
Being heard, being understood, and then turning those words into action.
If this bill passes, they're going to have doctors and organizations are going to have to answer some questions about why did you bypass that particular person with disabilities. It's just a check and balances of, why did you, it appears that you discriminated. Why did you do that? And they're going to have to answer to that.
I'm in DC and I'm making it happen.
Yeah, you are. She is making it happen. So she met with two congresspeople from Michigan, as well as both of our senators. Keep in mind, yes, there are laws on the books. What Allie is trying to do is shore up those laws and create layers so that, again, you have equitable coverage for people with disabilities. And by the way, Karen, I don't know if you know this, but the cherry blossoms are in bloom again, darling, in Washington, D.C. So we'll just call this the cherry blossom on top of a really, really cool pie.
Ooh, I like that. All right, thanks, Paula.